I'm going to give you 12 reasons why Canada is bad. The first reason is that if you own a truck, like a pickup truck, right, like that truck right over here, that nice truck, right? Look at that beautiful black. Hey, there's two black trucks right here. The nice truck right there, okay? And there's another nice black truck over here. Hey, they're both Rams, both Dodge Rams, okay? If you own a truck, you cannot take passengers in the back, right? So you couldn't put passengers back there. You can't do it. It's illegal. The government has made it illegal to carry passengers in the back of your truck. Right, so look at this. The back can be called the box of the truck. Okay, or the bed of the truck, you know. So this area, right? You cannot sit back here. You can't do it. If the police see you driving a truck, or here we call them trucks, you might call them a pickup truck, the police are going to stop you and say, you are a bad person, we are going to punish you. So you will get punished for having people in the back of your truck. So that's why if you go out onto farms in Canada, you'll see farmers always have two vehicles. They've got a truck for doing their work, right? And they have a car for moving their people, like let's say an SUV, maybe like this or like that, right? For, you know, driving their family around. You know, let's say you want to take your kids to, you know, I don't know, hockey practice, right? You need somewhere to put them. Now you could put them in a truck. Now, like, it depends on the size of your truck. Like, a lot of trucks are big. They're big enough to move people. Like this, see, this is a huge truck, right? Ford F-350 Super Duty. Man, look at that beast, guys. Is that a 350? 250, that's a Ford 250. Oh, look at that nice car, guys. Oh, that's sweet. So, you know, you could put your kids in your truck, but a lot of most farmers that I know have two vehicles. One is kind of for their work, the truck is for their work, and they have an SUV or a car or a van for doing their normal driving, because trucks use a lot of gas. The trucks are really expensive, right, to drive around. So you can't use the back of your truck for moving people. You can't do it. I've been in other countries, I've been to many countries, and you always see people riding in the back of a truck, right? Let me know, in your country, have you ever ridden in the back of a pickup truck? Can you do it? Are you allowed to do it? You know, here in Canada, the government has decided that it's not safe to ride back there. And so they say you are not allowed to do it. So that really limits your usability of the truck, right? I mean, if you look at most trucks around Canada here, they don't have anything in the back. A lot of people just buy trucks because, you know, maybe they want to look cool, or, you know, maybe they like sitting higher up on the road. Here, guys, here's a truck coming right here behind me. You see there? Nice pickup truck. I bet he doesn't have anything in the back. Some people, like if you work in a construction job, you need to have a truck for moving equipment and wood, and just you have to have a truck to move stuff around. Everybody who works like a manual labor job in Canada, like you know, any kind of trades work. Trades means like a plumber or an electrician or a carpenter, those types of things, right? They all have trucks. So, okay, trucks are very common here in Canada. So here's another truck here. Nice GMC Sierra. Okay. Let's see if he's got a cover on the back. So we don't know if there's anything in there. Okay. Maybe he has some stuff in there. I don't know. But it's probably empty, right? People, you know, you can't move people with your truck. The back, the box. You can't have people sitting in the box of your truck. So let me know in your country, are you allowed? Do you own a truck? You know, I've been to countries, I always see people riding in the back of a truck. It's, you know, the Toyota Hilux, for example. Now here in Canada, we don't have the Toyota Hilux name, like brand, but if you go to other countries, one of the most common vehicles in the world, guys, see this? There's another truck right there. And there's a truck right there. Look at that nice house. Beautiful. So if you go to other countries, one of the most popular trucks ever is the Toyota Hilux. It's just like a nice little half-ton truck. Here in Canada and the US, that size of Toyota truck is called the Toyota Tacoma. Okay, I don't know why it's a different name here, but overseas it's the Toyota Hilux, right? So, I mean, hear a vehicle coming up behind me. I can hear it's a Toyota because it makes that stupid noise. Oh, it's a Lexus. Same idea, same brand though. Toyota makes Lexus. I don't know why, but they have the Toyota vehicles. They make this, is it the electric or the hybrid vehicles? They make this weird, stupid noise, like the most annoying sound I've ever heard in my life. So if you work for Toyota, just tell those people to get rid of that dumb sound. It's so obnoxious. All right, so the second reason why Canada is bad is because the government has... Guys, look at this. There's a plant growing out of the roof of this car. Look at that. There's a plant up there. Isn't that cool? Guys, oh, look, more trucks here. 2 more trucks. That truck's for sale. Oh, 3 more trucks. Another truck there. Another truck over there. Another truck over there. So you can see there are a lot of trucks in Canada. A lot of people own trucks. Okay, there's another one over there. I mean, like, oh, there's another one there. Look, I'm just walking around in this. Whoa, look at that rust damage on that. That is some serious rust damage. You can see just walking around for like 5 minutes, I've come across like 15 trucks. Hey, there's another truck over there in the park, in the driveway over there. There's another truck right there. Wait, look, there's trucks everywhere. And that's why I was thinking about this. So much of the usability of the truck is taken away because you can't put people in the back of the truck. You cannot transport people in your truck. Let me know, in your country, can you do it? So, the second reason. Now, this reason, you probably don't know this, right? Because it's new. It just came in last year. The government has banned means you're not allowed to do it. The government has banned Venetian blinds. Do you know what a Venetian blind is? Let's say you buy a new house, right? And you have some windows and you want to get some privacy. So you want something to cover the windows, right? Let's imagine you buy that nice house over there. You have some big windows and you say, I don't want my neighbors watching me walk around the house in my boxers, right? Do you walk around in the house? You walk around your house in your boxers? I may or may not walk around my house in my boxers. So it's something you don't want your neighbors necessarily to notice, right? So you want to have some privacy. So what are your options? Well, you could buy curtains, but a lot of people don't like curtains. I'm not a huge curtain fan. I prefer Venetian blinds. Okay, now some kids out here on their bikes. So a Venetian blinds are kind of like nice looking, you know, where you can adjust the whatever, and you know, they've got the 2 strings, right? Or, you know, maybe 1 string and maybe a rod, you can, you know. But anyway, now in Canada it's illegal to, another kid. There's a lot of kids out here, guys. Better try to escape kids. So now the government has made it illegal to have a string on those blinds. Now I think companies are now making those with, guys, I can't focus. There's so many little kids on their bikes around here. Can't focus on anything, guys. I always hear the sound of the bikes coming up behind me. Okay, we got a good stretch here. No one coming behind me, no one in front of me. Now I can speak. So Venetian blinds, they've got that string. Now the government apparently has deemed it unsafe for children if you have that string, because it's like a choking hazard, right? So they're afraid that, you know, the kid is going to like swallow the string and gonna choke on the string. Imagine being a child, like a toddler, like 2 years old, 3 years old. There's so many things that could kill you, right? You could fall down the stairs and break your neck. You could eat a stone, a rock, put a toy in your mouth. So many things are hazardous for children, especially in that age where children are starting to kind of crawl around or walk around and get their hands into all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's a dangerous age. But in my view, to ban Venetian blinds or any blinds with like a string, it would be like banning the sale of a house with stairs. You know, parents who are, well, if a parent has a child who's like 2 or 3 years old, they have to be very careful, right? It's the parent's responsibility to take care of their child, to protect their child, right? So if you go into a house here in Canada, you know, if you go into any house and the parents have kids at that age, very often you'll see all these little contraptions to keep the kids safe. You know, you have like there's like a little gate to prevent the kids from falling down the stairs, because most of these houses here in Canada, they have a basement. Okay, so all these houses, they have like a main floor, and then they have a basement, and maybe they have an upstairs too. So maybe the baby room is upstairs, let's say. So you have to prevent the baby or the toddler from falling down that set of stairs, but then also the stairs that go down into the basement. So the parents might have 2 gates, little like a thing you can, you know, to prevent your child from going and falling down the stairs. So how about in your country? Are you allowed to sell Venetian blinds? Now, in Canada here, it's not illegal to have them in your house, because most houses, like they were made before last year, right? So if you have Venetian blinds in your house, they're not illegal. The government is not going to come and take them out of your house. The thing is, it's just now it's illegal to sell them, right? So they targeted the point of sale as a way to, you know, prevent future homes. Like you can see in that house there, can you see in the camera? They have blinds. Now, I like blinds. I like the look of blinds. How about you? Would you prefer blinds or curtains? I like blinds. And maybe those blinds, that's a pretty new house. I don't know, these houses were made probably within the last 5 years or so. So, I mean, some of those blinds, they might just be pulled down like cordless. They might be cordless blinds now that they have those. Back in the olden days, almost all houses that I remember here in Canada had the blinds with like a string. You pull down the string. And what parents used to do is they would just, to keep their kids safe, they would just tie the string, make a knot so that the string is higher up, so the kid can't reach it. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Do you think this is government insanity? Do you think they're just trying to get their hands into your life? Or do you think it's a good idea for the government to do these kinds of things? You're not allowed to ride in the back of a pickup truck. You're not allowed to buy blinds now. Now, I'm not sure secondhand, if it's legal to buy secondhand blinds. I don't know. But in any case, if you have blinds in your house, you don't need to worry about it. But it's just, the thing is, you can't buy them now because no companies are allowed to sell those kinds of blinds with the string. The third reason why Canada is bad is because when you go to a barber shop here in Canada, they don't give you a massage. They don't even touch you. They just give you like a little haircut and, you know, send you home. It's not good service. You don't get good service. Now, a barber shop, usually that word is a place for men's haircuts. For a woman, she would go to a hair salon, okay, and get her haircut there. But it's the same idea. You just go there, you get your haircut, and they don't even touch you. You know, people like getting touched a little bit, right? You know, that's why a lot of people, a lot of men go to countries like Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, because they like getting touched a little bit. I thought someone was following me, guys. Look at this, clear sailing, nobody in sight. I wish I had a boat to go sailing on here. Wouldn't that be nice? But anyway, guys, so yeah, I mean, a lot of men don't like to admit it, but they need touch. They need to get touched. And so if you go to those countries, especially the Southeast Asian countries, it's very easy to get touched, because if you go for a haircut, they'll give you a massage. I was in China. When I first went to China, I loved going to get haircuts. I would try to just, sometimes I'd go for like a haircut every 2 weeks. Even though I didn't need a haircut, I loved going for a haircut because it was cheap, and I would get a little massage, right? You've got the women in the front of the shop wearing nice outfits. I mean, all matching outfits. I remember there was a barber shop or a hair salon. I think it's men and women in China both. I don't know if they have that distinction like we have here. But here, if it's a barber shop, it's probably for men. If it's a hair salon, it's probably for women. Okay. In India, they use the term hair saloon. I don't know where they got that idea from. I think it's a mistake. It should be hair salon. A saloon is like a bar or a pub, a place where you go to drink alcohol and maybe, you know, eat some food or whatever. Okay, that's a saloon. It's kind of like an old-fashioned bar, like what you would see in like a Western movie. Have you ever watched Western movies, like cowboy movies? There's like these little towns, and the town will have a saloon, okay? So it should be hair salon. Now, I just forgot what I was saying, guys. Don't you hate it when that happens? You just completely forget what you're talking about. Oh yeah, when I lived in Shanghai, underneath my apartment building, I think it was part of the same building. Anyway, there was a hair salon, and there were all the women were like, had this beautiful pink uniform. You know, you got the pink like top and the skirt, and they were just dressed well, and they were kind, they were friendly, you know. Oh, welcome here, you know, they would sit me down, give me a massage. It's just like, yes, this is so good. It was all part of the price of the haircut, and the haircuts were cheap. I can't remember how much it was for a haircut there, but way cheaper than here in Canada. Okay, so here in Canada, a haircut, just for the cheapest kind of haircut for men. Usually women's haircuts are more, right? Like women's haircuts might be like $100 here in Canada. Here for men, I think the cheapest places are like $30 for a haircut. $30 for like a 10-minute haircut. It's ridiculous, you know. So that's why men like going to these countries. You know, you can go out for like a massage. You can get a massage for like $5-10. Right now, I've never been to the Philippines, I've never been to Vietnam, but I've been to Thailand, I've been to Laos, I've been to Myanmar. I had massages in each of those 3 countries. They're cheap, like $5-10 for an hour massage. Here in Canada, guess how much it costs for an hour massage? Actually, I don't even know. I've never gotten a massage here in Canada. It's just too expensive. Like, I think it would be $100. $100 for an hour massage. Who can afford that? I know some people who maybe they go once a year and they think it's like a great experience. Oh, I went to get a massage. You know, yeah, because it's $100. Of course it's a once in a year type of thing. Over there, overseas, you can get a massage for like $5. So it's affordable. So men go there, they want to be touched, right? How about you? Do you want to be touched? Do you like getting touched? You know, it's our culture here is so different. Everybody's just completely... There's some bikes coming up here, guys. Everyone is so like reserved, you know. You can live your whole life here in Canada without ever getting touched. How about in your country? How many times do you get touched per week? I would say the average man in like my age here in Canada gets touched, like, I don't even know. Now I'm thinking, when was the last time I got touched? You know, because if you invite your friends over, you know, you just open the door and you say, hey, how are you doing? Or how's it going, guys? And you might give them a hand. No, friends don't give each other handshakes. Like men, if you're meeting someone for the first time, you give them a handshake. But if you're just, you know, have someone coming over for the evening or something, you don't touch them. So it's a bit weird. Our culture is very reserved, hands off. You know, that's why it's always shocking when I go to other countries, like places like, guys, maybe I should turn around. I don't know where this path is going. I'll turn around, go back to the canal. So it's always kind of shocking when I go to other countries like Mexico, for example, and just seeing everybody touching each other. It's like, whoa, this is interesting. But it's better. It's a better culture. Here in Canada, everybody's a bit cold, a bit reserved. You know, they're friendly people, but just not like affectionate type people, you know. All right, so guys, that's the, what's that, the third reason. The fourth reason, oh, and I was gonna mention, when I lived in China, not only do they give you a massage, but they also clean your ears. Now, at least the barbershops I went to, very often they would clean your ears with a Q-tip. And that was always scary for me, because they didn't ask me if I wanted it. The woman would just kind of like take out a Q-tip and just grab my ear and start like Q-tipping my ear. And I was always like kind of scared that she would like just put it in and hurt my eardrum, like damage my eardrum. But she was good, she was experienced, so it felt good. I wanted to trust her, but I was always a bit scared, like, you know, someone else putting something in your ear. It's like, it's scary. How about you? Would you be scared? Would you be scared of that? Guys, look at this nice tree here. I love these kinds of trees. Sometimes I grab a few pine needles, kind of rub them in between my fingers. They smell really nice. You know, the smell of pine. It's really great. So, all right, guys. So, have you ever had anybody Q-tip your ears? It's a weird experience, but it's kind of nice. So that's another example of how people in China and other countries like that, they touch you. Here in Canada, for a haircut, you don't get any service like that. They cut your hair and that's it. They barely even touch your hair, right? And so it just feels nice to get like to get some nice service. If you go for a haircut, it's so nice to get like even a 2-3 minute massage, you know, or some Q-tipping or something extra, you know, like to just pay $30 for a haircut. It's just insane. So the next, what is that? That's 3, right? First was the trucks, then was the Venetian blinds, then was the haircuts. The fourth reason is, what's the fourth reason? Oh, tipping. You know, 15% is expected in Canada. If you go to a restaurant and you want to eat something, like a sit-down restaurant. Now, I'm not talking about a fast food restaurant like McDonald's, okay? As if you go to a sit-down restaurant, like any kind of nicer, just medium range type of place, you know, you're expected to tip 15% minimum. That's minimum, okay? So when you go to pay, right, you'll you know, usually people pay with their credit card. They'll give you the machine, they'll bring the machine to your table, and then it'll have like 3 options. You can tip 15% as the minimum, or you can tip 20 or maybe 30% as excellent service. That's insane. For what? You know, they just brought the food to your table and now you expect a 15% tip? I mean, you literally walked like 10 steps. Okay, let's say I'm the waiter, right? And let's say that tree is where you're sitting. Okay, now I'm going to carry the plate from the kitchen over here to where you are sitting, okay? And I'm going to give you your food. It's like 10 steps. And now I'm expecting you to tip me 15%? That'd be like $10 tip. If you go to like any sit-down restaurant, let's say for 2 people, okay? You go to any place, you're gonna be looking at least probably $50 to $60 minimum, okay? For like any kind of a dish, it's probably about $20 per entree. Entree means your main meal. Like, let's say you're eating something like some nice sandwich or some nice, like maybe some fish and chips or some, you know, a steak, although steak can be a lot more expensive too. Steak, you could be looking at like $30 or $40 for, you know, for that. So you're, for two people, you're looking minimum like 50 to maybe 60, 70, $80. It can go way up, you know, depends on the restaurant. But let's say it's like $60, $70 and you're tipping 15%. That's like $10 to $15 tip. So then you're, you know, after you add everything up with tax and everything, you're looking like it's like $100 to go out for an evening of a nice meal for two people. With you get some drinks, you get some nice food, and you tip and tax. You get taxed. That's like $100. That's why I never go out to eat. I don't want to pay 15%. Now, technically, you do have the option to not tip. You don't have to tip. Nobody's holding a gun to your head and saying you have to tip. But when the waiter, let's say, imagine you're sitting at the table and the waitress or the server, whatever they're called, you know, these days the term, they use the term server. I think the term waitress has kind of fallen out of use. They're called servers. Okay, so let's say the server brings your food, and then after that you ask for the bill and they bring you the little machine to your table, and she's standing right there. And you know she's gonna see it, what you gave her. And so, like, people in that situation are extremely uncomfortable, because if they give no tip, well, they appear kind of stingy, right? Stingy means you don't like to let go of your money. You just kind of like to keep all your money for yourself. Are you stingy? I'm not a stingy person, but like to tip 15% or 20 or 30% for nothing, it just does. I don't like that culture. I don't like it. Okay, I've been to many other countries. You don't need to tip people at restaurants. You know, in India, for example, I don't know if I ever gave any. I did give people tips sometimes if it's good service and they're friendly and they're hardworking and stuff like that. Sure, a tip can be like an extra thing, not a minimum required thing, right? So I like giving tips, but I just don't want to have to give tips. I don't want to be forced to give tips. So that's the bad thing about Canada. I would say you're pretty much forced to give a 15% tip, and that's a lot of money. Okay, now the next reason Canada is bad, well, look at this beautiful land, right? Isn't that nice? Got a lake, got some birds, nice sun, some grass, some trees. Now I'm here in a city, but let's say I want to go out into the forest, out into the woods a ways. Am I allowed to just go camp, like drive out there and go camping? What do you think? Am I allowed to drive into the woods and just go camping? Because it's God's land, right? God made the world, right? So I should just be able to drive out into the trees somewhere and, like, you know, just spend the night, pitch a tent and just spend a night or two, right? I should be allowed to do that. Well, I'm not. Okay, why? Because it's called Crown land. Okay, the whole country of Canada is Crown land. Now, usually in cities like this, it's not called Crown land, but if you go out into the woods, nature, forests, lakes, and stuff like that, that's called Crown land. Now, what does that mean? What does the word crown mean? Well, the word crown is something a monarch wears on their head, right? A monarch means a king or a queen, all right? So Canada has a monarch. Did you know that? Canada has a monarch. Our system of government here in Canada is called a constitutional monarchy. Okay, that's the name of our government. Constitutional monarchy. That means we have a monarch who owns this country. And who is that monarch? It's the King of England. The King of England owns Canada. Did you know that? And not just Canada, many other countries. You know, a lot of people think that Elon Musk is the richest person in the world, or Bill Gates, or these other guys are rich. They're the richest people in the world. That's not true. The richest person in the world is King Charles. He owns multiple trillions. We're not just talking billions, trillions of dollars, because he owns these countries. Okay, the British Empire, these countries kind of in the British Empire are called Commonwealth countries. So if you go on Google and you search for Commonwealth countries, you will see map. You can search for a map of what these countries are. There's many countries, and King Charles owns them. That seems crazy, right? So I can't go camping out in the woods here in Canada because it's the king's land. He owns it, so I have to pay rent if I want to go camping out in the trees. And you know how much it costs here in Alberta. Now, I'm not sure about other provinces, how they do this, but here to go camping on crown land, you know, you need to pay $20 for, I think it's a 3-day pass. $20. Okay, for me to drive out into the woods, right, if I want to just go out there for a bit, go camping, I can't just do it. I have to buy a permit from the government, and I have to spend $20 for a 3-day camping trip. Now, that's not a campsite. Okay, don't get that mixed up. I'm not talking about a campground where they have nice facilities, bathrooms, water, all of that. That's at least $30, $40 a night. Per night, okay? And you have to pay that campground. I'm talking just going out into the middle of nowhere and just driving out there, setting up a tent. You know, you have to pay money. $20. So guys, by the way, if you want to know my opinion about the monarch, the royal family in the UK, I think they are evil to the bone. Evil to the bone. If something is evil to the bone, that means it's just completely evil. Deeply evil, right? I believe the royal family in the UK is deeply evil to the bone. I don't like them. Let me know, do you like them? Smash like if you agree with me. So guys, tip number, what are we on now? That was number 5, right? Number 6, I made a list actually in case I forgot. I'll pull out my phone so I don't forget anything. All right, guys, got my phone here. Oh, number 6, why Canada is bad, is you can't defend yourself. If someone breaks into your house to steal all your things, you're not allowed to defend yourself. You're not allowed to prevent him. You can't hurt him. He's hurting you, right? Let's say you own a nice house here, right? And someone tries to break into your house and to steal your things. Your house. You're not allowed to hurt him. He's hurting you by stealing your things, and you're not allowed to physically hurt him. Our country, there have been some messed up cases in Canada where someone tried to defend themselves and they got sued, or they got put in jail. Think about that. If someone breaks into your house and you hurt them, that's their own fault. But our country, Canada, is some of our laws here are just messed up. So that's one idea that's completely messed up. You're not allowed to hurt anybody who tries to steal your things. You have to call the police and then wait while the robber is stealing all your things, right? Oh, sorry, have a nice day. Sorry that I didn't have some nice food to offer you, Mr. Robber. You can take all my things and have a great day. Police come after half an hour and, oh, what happened? And they take a report. Okay, well, we'll go back to our, we'll think about it for a while. We'll try to catch the perpetrator. The word perpetrator means someone who is a bad guy, right? The police will say, we'll try to catch the perpetrator. By that time, the robber's already halfway around the world, right? He's gone. The police are never going to catch him. You can't defend yourself here. What kind of a country is that? Right? So that's the 6th reason why Canada is bad. Now, the 7th reason why Canada is bad, which way should we go, guys? Let's go this way. The 7th reason why Canada is bad is because we have 8 kinds of taxes. I think maybe more, at least 8. I just thought about it for a few seconds and I thought, yeah, I can at least count 8 kinds of taxes. Okay, the first one is federal income tax. Okay, the word federal means country, Canada, right? So the Prime Minister of Canada, he's the head of the federal, he's the leader of the federal government, right? He runs the whole country, but he's underneath the king. So the king can do whatever he wants, but the king is the real boss, the owner of Canada. The Prime Minister is just kind of the manager for a few years, right? So federal income tax. When you make money here in Canada, let's say you get a job, the federal government is going to come and say, you need to give us money, and they're going to take your money. That's called federal income tax. Now there's also a thing called provincial income tax. Okay, now what does the word provincial mean? Province. Okay, Canada has 10 provinces, right? So we have provincial income tax. That means the leader of the province is called the premier. Okay, the leader of the country is called the Prime Minister here in Canada. The leader of the province is called the premier. The province is going to come and they're going to say, oh, you have a job? Nice, we want to take some of your money. We're just going to take it. And it's just going to take it. That's called provincial income tax. Okay, now there's another thing called sales tax. Okay, there's government sales tax, that's called GST here in Canada. That's right now, that's 5%. So if you buy anything from the store, and let's say it's for $1, you see the thing on the shelf, it's listed for $1. When you actually go to check it out, to buy it, and you ring it through the till, you're going to see it's at least, there's going to see 5 cents added onto that as government sales tax, GST. So $1 plus 5%. But that's not all. You also have to pay PST. I hear some people behind me, guys. I'm gonna go down to the water. Look at that beautiful water, guys. Isn't that nice? PST, provincial sales tax. Now, here in Alberta, We are a bit lucky because we don't have PST, but all the other provinces in Canada have PST, and it's usually about 8%. You know, it depends on the province, but it's probably about 8%. So that means if you go buy a $1 product from the dollar store, let's say, you will have to pay an extra 13 cents. 5 for GST and 8 for PST. And those prices aren't listed on the, you know, on the shelf. You have to calculate it in your own mind, right? So if it's listed as $1, you have to think, okay, what's the PST now? What's the GST? Okay, I'm gonna have to pay an extra 13 cents. That's how it is here in Canada, okay? So the next tax is, well, let's say you want to invest your money. You want to make some money. So you want to do something with your money to invest it. Well, then you have to pay capital gains tax if your investment goes up. So let's say you have some money and you buy some stocks. Let's say you invest $100 into buying a few shares of a company. You buy some stocks, right? Now let's say those go up and you made a bit of money. The government says, ooh, you made some money. They're gonna take it from you. Hope the government doesn't come after me. Guys, this is just crazy. Like, the government, do you like it when the government is trying to get their hands into your life? Or do you want to just, do you want the government just to get out of your life? If you are like me, you want the government just to get out of your life. Do you agree with me? If you disagree with me, give me a thumbs down on this video. But if you agree with me, then keep watching. Thank you guys for sticking it out. It's already about 45 minutes here. And we're only halfway done. So hopefully I can finish the video before the sun goes down. I'll try to speed up my I'll try to speed this up a bit, okay guys? So the next tax is that's called capital gains tax, right? If they tax you on the money you make, whether any kind of investment, whether it's a house, whether it's stocks, whatever. Now let's say you want to buy a house, okay? Let's say I want to buy that house right there. There's another kind of tax called land transfer tax, where the government says, oh, you want to buy a house? We're gonna take some of your money away from you. We're gonna have a tax called land transfer tax. Now, here in Alberta, we don't have land transfer tax. So that's another benefit of living in Alberta. We don't have PST and we don't have land transfer tax. But if you go to other provinces, they have land transfer tax, and it's going to be, you have to pay like maybe $2,000 or $3,000 extra on top of you buy the house. Now you have to pay the government like $2,000 or $3,000, maybe more for a tax. And then is that where the taxing stops? Does the government say, okay, you paid your tax, now we're happy? No, they say, okay. Dogs aren't happy, guys. So the government says, we're going to keep taxing you every single year for as long as you own this house. Okay, so if you own a house like any of these nice houses here, I would say for a tiny little apartment, if you own a little apartment, you're going to have to pay probably about $2,000 per year here in Canada, depending on the area, right? But you'll have to pay like $2,000 a year as property tax. Now, if for these big houses around here, the property tax is probably like $10,000, maybe, depends on how much, you know, like these houses, like a big house like that might be around $1 million. Okay, so I mean, taxes could be over $5,000 a year for property tax, and you have to pay that to your government. Now that is here in Alberta. We don't have the land transfer tax, so you don't get taxed when you buy, but you get taxed, you know, every year. You get taxed annually, just because you own the house. The government just wants your money. Okay, what's next after, so there's land transfer tax. There is property tax. Another one, maybe one more. I think there was probably more taxes than this, but another one is death tax. Okay, so if you die, the government wants to take your money. So if if let's say you work hard your whole life and you have a nice house, you've paid off your house, and you want to give your house to your children, you can't do it. Now you can do it, but the government needs to take the money as though it was sold. They call it deemed disposition. Okay, so the government will treat it like it's sold. They'll take your tax, the capital gains tax, right? Let's say you bought it, 20 years ago, and now it's worth a lot more, and now you want to give it to your children. You can't just give it to your children. The government's going to say, okay, well, this is called deemed disposition, and because you died, we're going to take your money. We're going to tax you for this. We're going to tax you for giving your house to your child. Think about this. You work hard your whole life and you want to help your children, and now the government steps in and says, oh, you died? Great. We want to take some of your money away from you, from your dead body. And so they take it. And whatever's left goes to your children. So even when you're dead, the government is trying to get their hands into your life. Oh, let's see how much money you have. You died. That's good news for us. So we're going to take your money. It could be thousands and thousands of dollars. If a house, like, with inflation, right? You could buy a house back when, like, my grandparents, let's say, were kids. They could buy a house in Canada for like $5,000. And now to sell the house, if it's a nice house, it might be $500,000 or even more. So the government's gonna take so much of your money when you die. Welcome to Canada, my friends. So that's tax. That's what is that? The seventh reason why Canada is bad. What's another reason? Let me pull out my phone here, guys. I'll look at my list of reasons. Healthcare system. Canadian healthcare system, one of the common things you hear about Canada is you hear, oh, Canada's got free healthcare. That's really misleading. Okay, free healthcare is a misleading term. That means it's not true. It's not entirely true, because you have to pay for your own medicine. You have to pay for your own eye care. You have to pay for your own dental care. You have to pay for your own physiotherapy. You have to pay for your own massage therapy. You have to pay for your own chiropractic work. You have to pay for, and if you want to go visit like a natural doctor, they're called naturopaths. If you want to go visit a naturopath, you have to pay hundreds of dollars for that. It's misleading, because basically, if you need to get a surgery, let's say you need heart surgery. So you go to the doctor and you say, I have a problem. That visit is going to be free. And then the doctor will send you for tests. Those tests will be free. And then the surgery will be free. But you have to probably wait, 6 months, maybe a year, a couple of years. I've heard of people in Canada waiting years for a surgery, to get a surgery. I was just talking to some people from India a few weeks ago, and they said that In India, if you want to get a surgery or something, you can actually get it pretty quick. And so here in Canada, you have to wait months. And there is literally no option. You can't just pay money and get a surgery. Say, look, I'm in a desperate situation. I'm going to pay money and get the surgery. And so what often happens is people go overseas for their medical treatments. That's called medical tourism. Okay. Have you ever done medical tourism? I've never done medical tourism, but you know, a lot of people in Canada actually go to countries like Mexico, the Philippines, Thailand, India for their surgeries, different kinds of surgeries. Why? Because they can pay money and it's pretty cheap. You know, I think surgery cost in like the Philippines is like maybe, could be like $2,000, maybe $3,000-$4,000, depending on the surgery, right? And so people go from Canada to the Philippines for surgery or for some other medical treatments, right? You know, it's kind of nice. You get a vacation in there too, right? Go to a nice beach, relax for a few days if you know, try to get healthy from your medical treatments, right? Here in Canada, you have to wait sometimes months and months. So yes, it technically will be free, but let's say you need medication after the surgery. That's not going to be free. You have to buy your own medication, right? So it's this idea of free healthcare in Canada. It's not true. And the healthcare system is really inefficient. It's very expensive, right? Average Canadians have to pay a lot of money for healthcare. Even if they don't use it, they still have to pay for it. And when they want to use it, it's really frustrating for them because they might have to wait hours and hours at a hospital. If you go, actually, the Indian couple I was talking to, they said their friends, I think, went into the hospital and they were waiting there for 9 hours. 9 hours. You're just sitting in the hospital waiting for someone to help you. Hey, someone gonna help me? And just sitting here. Guys, Canada's supposed to have a nice healthcare system. Why am I sitting here for 9 hours? It happens here in Canada. You could be just sitting in a hospital for 9 hours or maybe longer. That's crazy. Is that a good healthcare system? No, it's not a good healthcare system. It's a terrible healthcare system, right? So I've made videos about this before, saying that Canada has a very bad healthcare system. It's not good. You know, the wait times are very long and it's not free anyway. You're gonna have to pay for your medicine, all your prescription drugs. You're gonna have to pay for your eye care, your glasses, your dental care, everything, right? So guys, that's not good. Next one. What is the number? What are we at now? Is it number 8 or 9 or something? I can't remember. The next one is the public transit is bad in Canada, okay? So, you know, here in Canada, you need a car. You need a car to get anywhere. Public transit here, what does public transit mean? Okay, public transit means like buses, trains, you know, things you can get around. Here in Canada, we have nice roads most of the time. You need a car to get anywhere. Like right over, for example, right over there, about less than an hour that way is the mountains. Nice mountains. If you Google Canada images, you look for pictures of Canada, you will see Banff National Park. It's one of the most famous places in Canada. It's about an hour drive that way. Now, if you ask me, Mark, how would you get there with public transit? I would have no idea. Literally have no idea. I think there are private companies from the airport. If let's say you arrive in Calgary, you land at the airport, there will be companies that take people to the mountains, like to Banff and back, maybe for day trips, or I'm not sure how it works. but there's no way to get out there. Like there's no train, there's no buses. I don't think there are any buses that go out there. Now, like I said, maybe everything's from the airport. So for me to get from here to Banff, I would literally have no idea how to do it. I just wouldn't know how to do it. That's why I have to have a car. So if you come to Canada, and usually immigrants find this out pretty quickly, that you need a car to live in this country. Vehicle ownership isn't cheap, right? You have to buy the car. A used car, let's say a used Toyota, 10 years old, might be $10,000, right? So you have to pay $10,000 to get a nice used vehicle, 10 years old. And then you have to pay for insurance. That's going to be at least $200 a month, probably, depending on which province you live in. Could be maybe $300, $400, $500 a month for insurance. And then you need to pay for gas. That's going to be expensive too. That could be another few $100, depending on how far you drive, right? Could be a few $100. Guys, look at this nice stream here. Isn't that nice? So and then on top of that, you have to pay for vehicle registration. That might be about $100 a year. So it's not too bad. But then you might have to pay for repairs, right? You might have to put winter tires, because here in Canada it's cold in the winters, right? The winters are very snowy and icy. It's dangerous driving in the winter. So you have to buy winter tires. That could be $1,000 to put winter tires on your vehicle. And the problem is, in the summer, you can drive with winter tires in the summer. That's okay, you can do it. The problem is you're not going to get as good of gas mileage. So you're going to spend a little bit more money on gas driving in the summer with winter tires. But also the winter tires wear out a lot faster if you drive in the summer. So it's not a great idea to drive in the summer with winter tires, because you'll have to buy new winter tires pretty quick, after that, right? Or sooner than you would if you change them. So most Canadians, they change their tires on their vehicle every year. I mean, twice a year. So in the winter, when the winter comes, like let's say October or November, as soon as the snow falls, all the tire shops are busy. Everybody's going in getting winter tires on their car, right? And to change the tires, it might not be that much money if you have two sets of tires, right? If you have, let's say you have a set of winter tires that you bought. Let's say it's $1,000, and you have a set of summer tires. So that means in the spring, you're going into the tire shop and getting them to take off your winter tires and put on your summer tires, or your, there's these tires called all seasonal tires. That means they should be good for every season. But the problem is, here in Canada, when the roads are icy, you don't want to be driving with all season tires. You want winter tires. They're much better. So a lot of people, I guarantee you, most of the people who live here, right, they all have vehicles. All of them will change the tires. Probably most of them will change the tires on their car or their truck twice a year. From summer to winter, they probably have two sets of tires. So if you want to buy a second-hand vehicle, if you go on Kijiji, for example, and you look at vehicles, very often vehicles will come with two sets of tires. The one person who's selling the vehicle will say, yeah, I have a set of winter tires and a set of summer tires or whatever. And so that's nice. Guys, look at these ducks. Isn't that beautiful? Nice little ducks swimming on the canal. All right, guys, so public transit. I've often wondered why Canada doesn't build one train that goes right across the country, a high-speed train. Because if you look on a map, most of the major cities in Canada are in a straight line, pretty much. You got Vancouver, Calgary, Regina, Winnipeg. You kind of have to go around the Great Lakes and get to Toronto, and then Ottawa, Montreal, Halifax. You can go all the way. You don't have to go like way weird ways. You just one line, one straight train, a high-speed train that runs all the way across the country. I've often thought that would be a good idea. Now, I guess Canadians don't really want that. I don't know why the government hasn't built that. Why don't we spend our tax money on something useful like that to help, you know, help people travel? Because if you come to Canada as a tourist, you know, it's very hard to travel around. You need to know someone with a car, or you need to rent a car to get around places. It's hard. You know, I've been to other countries with much better systems. Like Germany, for example, has a really nice train system. You have your main trains that go, like your big trains that go between the major cities. And then you've got your regional trains that go into like smaller towns. And then you've got your subway systems inside the city. So all the major cities in Germany have a subway system. Here in Calgary, like, you know, well, I'm thinking, okay, Winnipeg, Calgary, Regina, Edmonton, Saskatoon, we just have buses, guys. I mean, in Calgary, there's something called the C train. It's not great. It doesn't, you can't get very many places on the C train. So most people, they need a car. They have a car in Canada. I have a vehicle, right? You've seen me driving around my different vehicles over the years. So to live in Canada without a vehicle is very hard. It's just really, really hard. My back is itchy, guys. Need to go over to Asia and get a nice massage for $2 or $5 or something. That'd be nice. So guys, what's next on the list? We're getting almost to the end here. Thanks for bearing with me. So public transit is not great in Canada. I feel bad for tourists who are coming here. Housing costs. What's that, number 10, I think? 10 on the list, maybe. Housing costs are insane. Guys, to get just a nice little house somewhere. Now, here in Alberta or on the prairies like Saskatchewan, Manitoba, it's still somewhat affordable. You could get a condo. You can buy a small condo for like $200,000. That's still expensive for a little one-bedroom condo. But guys, a big house like this, like here that you see here, these houses could be like $1 million. You know, high, maybe like $700,000-800,000. And that's here. We're not talking about Vancouver or Toronto. Okay, a big house, like let's say something like that, those on the other side of the canal there, you can see. In Vancouver, that'd be like 10 million, maybe more, maybe like 20 million. I don't know. And in Toronto, I have no idea. How do people afford to live in these places? They can't buy, so they have to rent. Well, rent costs are so high in Canada. To rent a small little apartment somewhere, you're looking at like $2,000 minimum. I mean, you know, with let's say utilities, your utilities could be like maybe $200 or $300 a month, and your rent could be like $1,700 a month. So that's, you just live in a little place on your own in a little apartment, a one-bedroom condo. Then you're having to pay $2,000 a month. Now, over in Vancouver or Toronto, it's way more expensive than that. You're looking at like maybe $4,000 a month for a nice, decent little place. That's insane. How do people afford this stuff? So it's so expensive here. Guys, to buy a house is like almost unrealistic. I mean, if you're rich, right? If you're, let's say you have $1 million and you come to Canada and you can buy a house like that, great. Canada's a great place for you. You're welcome to come here and buy a house. But for a lot of people, immigrants and Canadians, they can't afford to buy a house, even a little condo, because it's just so expensive. All right, so guys, next one on the list is internet costs. Internet is expensive here. Internet, I mean, most people have Wi-Fi in their house and they have their SIM card on their phone, right? So, and they need it that way, right? Because if you leave your house, you still need internet on your phone. You need to use Google Maps. You need to do your stuff out when you're you know, out of your house. So all these people here have Wi-Fi, which is going to cost at least $80 a month. Here in Canada, all these people are probably paying around $80 to $100 a month for their Wi-Fi. And then you're going to pay another $80, maybe more, a month for having a decent SIM card where you can, you know, travel around a bit. There might be some cheaper options, but you have to stay within your city or you have to stay within your zone. If you want to travel around, drive around, you're going to... your phone costs, your internet costs on your phone are going to be like $100 a month, at least 80 probably. So combined internet, a Wi-Fi and SIM card, you're looking at 160, maybe even $200 a month just for internet. Think about that. That's insane. I talk to sometimes I talk to people from other countries and they pay like maybe $5 a month or like $2 a month for their internet. My internet costs are, I think they're $160 a month, maybe more, can't remember. So I pay a lot for internet. Everybody here pays a lot for internet, okay? So it's ridiculous. It's so expensive, okay? Now the last one, I'll say the last reason Canada is bad is because there's no street life here. You know, if you go to other countries, you know, there's like kind of a nice atmosphere on the streets, right? You can kind of step outside your house and maybe there's some shops. Like in India, for example, there's maybe some chai shops. You can go get some tea. You can get there's a barber shop. You can get a haircut, right? There's some people around on the streets and like, you can do some shopping. You can do this and that. Like here in Canada, there's a very distinct segregation between residential area. Like this is a residential area. Look, there's no shops here. All right, look at all this stuff. There's no people here. There's just the people live here. They stay in their houses. It's peaceful, and that's a nice thing about this. The residential areas are pretty nice and peaceful, like you can see right here. The problem is it can get really lonely, and it just like you feel like you're a nobody. Yeah, we as humans, we need social connections. We need to see other human life. We need some nice shops we can walk to. Because like, I mean, let's say you live in a house like this, right? Where are you going to go shopping? How are you going to buy food? You need a car. Where is a grocery store? I've just been walking around like here an hour, like almost an hour and 15 minutes. Have you seen any stores? Now we walked quite a ways over there. I mean, you can look over there, just houses, just houses, just houses, just houses. I could walk like 2 hours in this direction here or in that direction, and I wouldn't see any shops. I wouldn't find any stores to buy anything. Nothing. I need a car to drive to a shopping center and buy my food. So that's why I'm saying, guys, you need a car, and that's going to cost you like maybe $3,000 a year. I don't know what's, well, more than that. If you don't basically do no driving, it's going to cost you $3,000 a year. If you do some driving, depending on how much gas you spend, you know, what's $200 a month? That's $2,400 a year, right? Insurance, let's say $200 a month. That's already, you're already at $5,000 a year. That's not considering tires. That's not considering, you know, like repairs, maintenance, that type of stuff. You're looking at like $5,000 minimum per year to own a car in Canada. Could be more, it could be 10,000, right? And so to buy food, you need a car. Now in recent years there have been more like delivery services, so you could maybe pay to have your food delivered. You know, maybe you have to pay $10 and the company, the grocery store, will deliver their food. It will deliver your order, so you can order on the app, you can have it delivered. Guys, look at this nice little tree. What does that tag say? To order. Oh, I can order a pine tree? That's interesting. Look at that nice tree. I like little trees like that. Maybe I should order a tree like that for myself. So guys, you know, you can't just walk to a store and buy food. I mean, unless you get lucky and you live near a grocery store. But most of the time, you have to drive. And then if you're only going to go shopping like once a week, then you need a big fridge or a freezer to store that food in. I guarantee you, all these houses that you see here are, the people have at least one big fridge, probably a second fridge in their garage, and probably a deep freeze. A deep freeze is a big freezer that you can, you know, store food for a long time. So, you know, people have deep freezes full of frozen pizza, chicken wings, ice cream, all that stuff, because they don't want to go shopping every day. If you drive to the store every single day, that's a long, that takes a lot of time in a year. Like, let's say you spend 1 hour every day shopping, driving to the store, buying your food, driving home. That's 1 hour, let's say an hour per day. That's 365 hours per year that you just spent on shopping. And you have to spend money to drive to the store and back. Gas costs money, right? Guys, that's it. That's the end of the video. What do you think, guys? There's 12, I think there was 12 reasons. I didn't even mention the obvious reason. The obvious reason is that it's just freezing cold in the winter. There's an extra reason for you guys, a bonus reason. That's it, guys. 12 reasons why Canada is bad. I really like going to other countries where some of these things are much better. Like to be able to ride in the back of a pickup truck. Look at that, right? If I were in another country, I'd be able to just ride back there. Right? If I were in another country, I could get a nice massage before my haircut for free. They would give me a massage. I've had haircuts in some different countries. They just give you a little massage. That's just so nice. Don't you think that's awesome? I love it, guys. Anyway, guys, so that's it. The reasons why Canada is bad. Let me know your thoughts. You know, there are some reasons Canada is good. I just wanted to focus on the negative things today. So let me know, guys, what do you think about Canada? What are some good things and what are some bad things? Do you agree with what I said? In your country, let me know about these things, right? Can you ride in the back of a pickup? Do you get a massage when you go for a haircut? Do you have to pay taxes? Or I was gonna say tip. Do you have to pay a tip when you go to a restaurant? Do you have to pay high taxes, death taxes, all of this stuff? It's just ridiculous. All this stuff is ridiculous, guys. So let me know in your country what it's like, how it compares to Canada. I just thought I'd make that video, guys. It's kind of a long walk and talk video. So thank you to you guys who have stuck it out to the end. It's an hour and 20 minutes here. I really appreciate it, and hope you're doing really well. As always, I love you so much, and hope you're staying safe and healthy and happy. And as always, I'll see you guys over in the next episode of Mad English TV. Take care.